Hello, welcome to my lecture. Today I shall talk on the development of Indian English poetry in the pre-independence era, and I suggest all the students to study the book A History of Indian English Literature by Professor M.K.Naik, which publishes from the Sahitya Academy. This is a very good book, and I am sure for the better understanding of Indian English writing, this book will help you a lot. Now, before going to the history of Indian English writing, and to be precise, Indian English poetry, let us know something about the history of colonial India. We have reached that time when it was the time of the disintegration of Mughal Empire, and there was a fierce battle of Plassey, where Lord Clive defeated Nawab Sirajdollah of Bengal in the Battle of Plassey, and the power was handed over to the East India Company. So that time when they took charge, they tried to spread English language across the subcontinent, and there are significant development after the Battle of Plassey. There was Sir William Jones, who founded Asiatic Society in 1784, and it was a time when there are several English education institutions was establishing across the subcontinent. Now we have to understand why British wanted to start this kind of English educations. First and foremost, they wanted some English knowing clerks or the translators or the low level officials who could be useful in ruling the country according their wish and behalf. It is one of the foremost reasons because of this the English education has been flourished in India. Another reason may be the spread of Christianity in India. There are several missionary schools, and British officials wanted to run those schools for the betterment of their children's education. So that can be another reason for the development of English in India. And through the study of English language, it gives them an opportunity to assimilate the Western culture among the native Indians. So, because of this kind of practice, this time has produced a brand of earnest Indians who started learning English, and they started expressing in those language. Now we have to understand the situation. It was the time of Raja Rammohan Roy, who has written one letter to Governor General Lord Amherst seeking to open English education schools instead of the Sanskrit schools. In a letter to Lord Amherst, Rammohan Roy, who himself is an educated person, in 1823 has requested to open the English schools. And it is that time when British started the Hindu College in 1817 in Calcutta, which started promoting science and English education. Then there was the infamous Macaulay's Minute, which came into existence in 1835. In the particular minute, Lord Macaulay has pointed out, he has actually criticized vehemently about everything Indian, may it be astronomy, may it be culture, may it be religion, the economics, or the philosophy or the history by the Indians. Instead, he proposes whatever is available in the West is much better, and it is the white man's burden to educate the common native Indians in the Western culture. This Macaulay's Minute had a great impact on English education in India, and immediately after there was a person called Charles Wood who has started a famous dispatch which promotes English as a mode of instruction in all higher education. So we can understand how slowly but steadily English education has started growing into the Indian education system. There was the foundation of University of Calcutta, University of Bombay, University of Madras in 1857, and this was just the beginning of a long process. So, if we study, we can see that there are three distinct parts in Indian English writing. One is the imitation period, when the Indian English writers started imitating from their British counterparts. The second part is the growth period, when they get their influences from Indian culture, Indian society, Indian mysticism. And in the third period, it was the period of experimentation which happened in the post-independence era, when they started experimenting with the Indian English forms. Okay, so in this particular lecture, I shall talk about the pre-independence period, and I will try to read some of the important Indian English poets during that period. So, if we study Indian English poet during the pre-independence era, we can see there are distinct influence of romantic movements, be it in the context of theme or the subject matter, and there is a huge influence of Bengal Renaissance, especially in the hand of Raja Rammohun Roy. During this period, I need to mention the first and foremost the name of Henry Louis Vivian de Rosio, who was an Indian Portuguese person and was a very good scholar. He has written several Indian English writings, and the most of the ideas and the context in his writings were anti-colonial in nature and has some kind of nationalistic essence, some patriotic flavors. His famous poems include Harp of India, To India My Native Land, To the People of Hindu College. He has also written one satirical verse called Don Zunaiks. Okay, so de Rosio had a great impact on the common mass, especially the new English learning young generation. Then there is Michael Madhusudan Dutt, who was heavily influenced by Wordsworth and John Milton. He was actually a social reformer, but he has written several good quality English writings like The Captive Ladies, which is a historical narrative which charts the poem of Prithviraj elopements with the princess of Kanauj. Then there is Ramesh Chand Dutt, who was actually a Bengali novelist, but he was a very good translator, and he has translated several of his poems and novels into English. And this translation carries the essence of the Indianness in his writings. Then there is Rishi Aurobindo or Sri Ravinder Ghosh, who was a classical scholar and who was initially a poet. He was initially a revolutionary. He used to believe in the freedom movement, but later he turned into some kind of sainthood, and he has written several short poems like Invitations, He has written a famous visionary epic named Savitri, which tells the story of Savitri and Satyavan. Okay, and the major characteristics of Savitri has been the symbolic significance, and it always provides some kind of new dimensions to the highly complex inner actions. Okay, so the most important figures, though he is not that much of English writer, is Ravinder Tagore. I need to mention him because he received his Nobel Prize in English while translating Gitanjali in English. So his translation, because of his poetic content, he got the attention of the Western scholar like W.B. Yeats, and his poetry exhibits some kind of high philosophical and a quest towards perfection. He has written several Bengali poems and translated into English language. Then there is Manmohan Ghosh, who was a younger brother of Rishi Ravinder Ghosh, who was an English educated person, studied in England, and he has contributed vastly to the Indian English writings. Especially he was familiar with Oscar Wilde and the Rhymers Club, and he has published several collections of poems. And in this context, I need not forget the women contributors like Toru Dutt or the Sarojini Naidu. Toru Dutt was again an Indian lady who has studied in England, and she was very much competent in French and English writings, and she has written several important poetry collections like Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, and very familiar poems which we often study during the study of English honors, like Our Casuarina Tree or The Lotus or Sita, has been written by Toru Dutt. Then there is Sarojini Naidu, who was called the Nightingale of India. She was famous for various themes and contents like patriotism, romance, tragedy, children's poem. She has written one poem called In the Bazaars of Hyderabad. Okay, so she is very famous, and she has tried to take Indian English poetry forward in a proper dimension. So this is all the important writers during the pre-colonial, pre-independence period who has given the necessary stimulus to the Indian English writing, and on their shoulder the Indian English poetry has evolved from childhood to maturity. Thank you.